this video, you will see what is the top 10 must-have units in update 16.5. Every units in this video are all obtainable and not from trading. Bro, I do want to know what you think is the best unit in update 16.5. Remember to subscribe and like. And with that being said, let's go. In no particular order, the first must-have unit is Josuka Unbreakable. Josuka is one of the newest units added in this update 16.5, and he became one of the best ground and support unit. Since that placement, he will be able to stun enemies. Oh my god, it's like Roger but worse, but it's pretty good too. Josuka Unbreakable stats are max upgrade and max level are 333,636 damage with his SPA at 9.1 seconds, making his damage per second at 36,663.29, which is insanely strong. Especially, he will be able to stun enemies, and on top of that, overpowered damage per second, bro. How to evolve Josuka Crazy Diamond to Josuka Unbreakable is by defeating the new raid Bazaar Town countless of times, because you will be needing 400 Kiro coins and star fruits for you to be able to evolve one of the newest JoJo Bazaar units. I do recommend to buy all of the Heart Bomb raid relics, since it will help you once you have bought every single of the Heart Bomb raid relics. The best traits you can have on Josuka Unbreakable are Unique, Divine, and Godspeed, and his damage types are Physical and Aqua. Alright, next unit is Usop God. Usop is still the best boss killer in this update 16.5, especially he is a hybrid unit on placement, which means he will be able to attack both air and ground enemies. Hog! Usop God stats are max upgrade and max level are 414,182.93 damage with his SPA at 5 seconds, making his damage per second at 82,836.59, which is the highest. It is still the highest damage and damage per second unit in this game currently. Usop God is extremely overpowered for Infinity Castle, so I recommend getting Usop God, especially he will be able to carry you in early waves in any kind of maps. Usop God's attack types are True Damage and Air, which he will ignore Yellow Shield and be insanely good for Infinity Castle as it will ignore Resistance. Okay, next unit is Chalta Blood Fallen. Chalta is one of the best bleeding amplification unit, especially she has a better DPS and AoE size than Power Fiend. Chaltier stats are max upgrade and max level are 111,829 damage with his SPA at 8 seconds, making her damage per second at 13,978.67. On placement, Chalta will be able to make bleeding damage 5 times more, which is insanely strong, especially pairing with Guts Berserk, and Chalta is going to be extremely useful for leaderboard runs, tournaments, and many more. So I highly recommend to be careful trading for Power Fiend, since Chalta is a way better power. So good luck to everybody out there. How to evolve Chalta is by defeating the brand new Undead Tome Legend stage, which you will have to continuously grind multiple of the Legend stages. Especially, you'll be needing 10 of each Overlord ring, blue, red, and yellow. Chalta's Blood Fallen's damage types are Physical and Roast. Alright, next unit is Metal Knight Arsenal. Metal Knight is still one of the best heal units, especially he has an insane multi-hit and summons drones in this update 16.5. Metal Knight Arsenal stats are max upgrade and max level are 129,881 damage with his SPA at 6.1 seconds, making his damage per second at 21,291.96. Remember that Metal Knight Arsenal can only be placed down twice, making Unique Trait the best trait on this unit. The drones will deal half of Metal Knight's damage, and at later upgrades, Metal Knight will become a multi-hit which will do well against shield enemies. Hoggers! You'll be needing takedowns for Metal Knight to spawn his drones, and there is a tracker at the back on how many takedowns he got. To fully max upgrade one Metal Knight Arsenal will cost you 118,250 yen, and his damage types are Magic and Storm, which makes Metal Knight a must-have for Magic Infinity Castle rooms. An alternative unit you can go for instead of Metal Knight is Fuji Admiral. Fuji is still the best physical heal unit, and I must say, the strongest heal unit out there in this update 16.5, especially with this 2-hit on placement, making him great against shield enemies and overall the best heal unit out there, bro. Fuji Admiral stats a max upgrade and max avalar, 157,205.43 damage with his SPA at 11 seconds, making his damage per second at 14,291.4, which makes Fuji Admiral the best physical heal unit and overall the best heal unit out there, especially on how cheap he is to max upgrade with an insane damage and one of the best shield breaker heal unit, as he is a 2-hit on placement which will do well against shield enemies. Yes sir. And Fuji Admiral costs 66,500 yen to max upgrade one single Fuji Admiral, and his damage types are physical and dark. Alright, next unit is Oshi Idol. Oshi is still one of the most overpowered support unit in this update 16.5, especially Oshi Idol buffs your units by 15% damage and makes the upgrade cost 20% less, which is insanely good, and you can place Oshi Idol anywhere in the map and your units will still be buffed. Oshi Idol's passives only works on you and not other teammates. Pairing Oshi Idol with farms will make it cheaper for you to upgrade your farms, and not just making your farms cheaper, but also making your other units upgrade cost less, which will be valuable in short maps like story modes, Infinity Castle, portals, and many more. Okay, next unit is Griffith Ascension. Griffith is the most overpowered unit and even better than Dio over Heaven himself, with Griffith's extremely overpowered passive in this update 16.5. Griffith Ascension stats are max upgrade and max avalar, 20,711 damage with his SPA at 6.3 seconds, making his damage per second at 3,287.46. You might be wondering, why does he have such a low stat? Well, it is because you have to sacrifice units. If you sacrifice buff units, Griffith will turn into Griffith Reincarnation, where it will buff your units by 100%, and you can stack your buff with Griffith Reincarnation, which is incredibly overpowered, which can be used in the brand new tournament in this update 16.5. If you sacrifice Mythic, Secret, Legendary, Epic, Rare units, Griffith Ascension will become a full AoE DPS unit, which is the most overpowered unit in anime adventures, even better than Dio over Heaven, which is insanely strong. Do keep in mind that Griffith does not have a cap, making it insanely overpowered, so I highly recommend trying to get your Griffith's damage up to 300 plus damage before he transforms, because it will be broken for Griffith to have such an insane amount of damage, with him being a full AoE and multi-hit, which will be great against shield enemies. Griffith's buff is based on the cost of the unit, which if you have maxed out the units, it will give more percentage of the damage buff before Griffith transform. Alright, the next unit is Roger, Pirate King. Roger is still the best ground unit with his overpowered passive, and Roger is currently the best DPS in this update 16.5 amongst the ground units. Roger Pirate King stats are max upgrade and max avalar, 298,614 damage with his SPA at 5 seconds, making his damage per second at 59,722.8, which is insanely strong, especially Roger is the current best DPS in this update 16.5. How to get Roger is through opening the brand new summer 2023 capsules, where there is a tiny chance for the capsules to drop Roger. So good luck to everyone who is trying to get Roger, and I definitely suggest to try and get him because he is a limited secret unit. So if you're a collector, then get him. Yeah. And Roger Pirate King's damage types are physical and fire. Alright, next unit is Law Rube. Law is one of the best ground and support unit in this update 16.5. Law is also extremely overpowered to bring in Infinity Castle, not only because of his ability, but how surprisingly cheap he is to max upgrade, which will be useful in Infinity Castle, leaderboard runs, and many more. Low room stats are max upgrade and max LR, 150,141 damage with his SPA at 5.9 seconds, making his damage per second at 25,447.62, which is insanely good for a support unit as he has an ability at placement called Shamble, where when activated, the enemies will be teleported back, which is insanely strong, and he is a way better Lulu Gias. And that means Low Room will be valuable in Infinity Castle and leaderboard runs with his Shamble ability. The Shamble ability affects air, ground enemies, and bosses, which is insanely good. Low Room is incredibly easy to evolve as you just have to continuously defeat the puppet portal, which are quite easy to defeat even if you are soloing the portal. The best trait you can have on Low Room is unique as he is a 3 placement, and alternative traits you can have on him are Sniper and Divine, so he will be able to teleport back more enemies with his huge range. Low Room's damage types are Magic and Aqua. Okay, next unit is Koichi Echoes. Koichi is one of the newest units added in this update 16.5, and he became one of the best ground and support unit since at later upgrades he will become a hybrid and will be able to slow enemies, which is insanely strong. Koichi Echo stats are max upgrade and max LR, 116,811 damage with his SPA at 6.3 seconds, making his damage per second at 18,541.42, which is pretty good. Especially at later upgrades, his slow will make the enemies 80% slower, which is basically like a freeze, and he is actually the first unit in a while to hit both air and ground enemies that slow the enemy. Yeah. And how to evolve Koichi to Koichi Echoes is by defeating the new raid Bizarre Town countless of times, because you'll be needing 400 killer coins and star fruits for you to be able to evolve one of the newest units, Jojo Bizarre. I do recommend to buy all of the Hard Bomb raid relics since it will help you once you have bought every single one of the Hard Bomb raid relics. Koichi Echo's damage types are physical and air. Alright, next unit is Guts Berserk. Guts Berserk is one of the most overpowered unit with his extremely overpowered full AoE and overall one of the best ground unit, and as well as you'll be able to hit both air and ground enemies at later upgrades in this update 16.5. Guts Berserk stats at max level and max upgrade are 326,850 damage with his SPA at 12 seconds, making his damage per second at 27,237.5, which is insanely strong. Especially Guts is a full AoE and will be able to hit air enemies at later upgrades. Guts also does an addition of 25% bleeding and 4 ticks, which is the best tick you can have on a bleeding unit. How to evolve Guts to Guts Berserk is by defeating the brand new Eclipse portal, which can be obtained through the Windham Infinite mode, which is incredibly easy, especially the map is very huge, so you can place further back if you are playing solo. Guts Berserk's damage types are physical and fire. Okay, next unit is Ains Overlord. Ains is one of the best ground unit as he will be able to attack both air and ground enemies, especially who become a full AoE, and at the same time Ains spawns summoner units which will deal 1,725,762.19 damage at max upgrade, which is insanely strong. Like, boy, Ains Overlord is him. Ains Overlord stats a max upgrade and max LR, 345,152.44 damage with his SPA at 10 seconds, making his damage per second at 34,515.24, which is one of the most overpowered damage per second out there. Especially he will be able to attack both air and ground enemies at later upgrades and becomes a full AoE. Like, hello? How to get Ains Overlord is by awakening the Overlord staff after sacrificing 3 evolved mythic units from Overlord. How to evolve Ains Overlord is by defeating the brand new Undead Tome Legend stage, which you will have to continuously grind multiple of the legend stages, especially you will be needing 10 of each Overlord ring, blue, red, and yellow. Ains Overlord's damage types are magic and dark. Okay, next unit is Rohan Artist. Rohan is one of the newest units added in this update 16.5, and he became one of the best grounded support units. Since that placement, he will be able to slow enemies, and at later upgrades, he will be able to knock back, bleed, freeze, and slow, which is insanely strong. And he's actually the first secret raid unit in a while, bro. Rohan artist stats are max upgrade and max level are 109,060 damage with his SPA at 5.8 seconds, making his damage per second at 18,803.44, which is not bad. Especially he'll be able to knock back enemies, bleed, freeze, and slow at later upgrades. Like, that is just crazy. How to get Rohan is by defeating the brand new raid Bizarre Town, and you need to, countlessly defeat it, because he is a 1% drop rate for you to get Rohan when defeating Act 4 of the Bizarre Town, although the Act 5 will be a 3% drop rate, although you will only be able to do it 3 times daily. So good luck to everyone who's trying to get him, because I still do not have him, bro. How to evolve Rohan to Rohan artist is by defeating the new raid Bizarre Town countless of times, because you'll be needing 400 killer coins and star fruits for you to be able to evolve one of the newest JoJo Bizarre units. I do recommend to buy all of the Heart Bomb Raid relics, since it will help you once you have bought every single one of the Heart Bomb Raid relics. Rohan artist damage types are magic and light. Alright, next unit is Stain Hero Slayer. Slay, who is still one of the best DPS ground unit in this update 16.5, since the ability that he will get at later upgrades is extremely overpowered. Stain Hero Slayer stats on max upgrade and max level are 91,870 damage with his SPA at 5.6 seconds, making his damage per second at 16,405.35, which is insanely strong. How Stain Hero Slayer works with his ability is whenever Blood Curdle is activated, Stain's damage will deal 3 times more damage to every bleeding enemy inside his range. The ability can crit 4.5 times of Stain's current damage, as well as it stuns enemies for 2 seconds. His ability is not a global ability, which technically you can spam that ability, bro. And there's a 10 seconds cooldown on enemies who have been affected by the ability, and the ability cooldown is 20 seconds. Stain Hero Slayer will be extremely good when pairing with other bleeding units, especially Guts Berserk, who is one of the most overpowered unit in this update 16.5, where he will be able to hit air enemies at later upgrades, making Stain Hero Slayer the best, especially when Blood Curdle is activated. It will attack every enemies that are bleeding, even air enemies, bro. Stain Hero Slayer's damage types are physical and dark. Alright, next unit is Poseidon, Tyrant of the Seas. Poseidon is still one of the best ground unit with his full AoE, and will be able to hit both air and ground enemies at later upgrades. Poggers, bro. Poseidon, Tyrant of the Seas stats on max upgrade and max level are 339,342 damage with his SPA at 9.1 seconds, making his damage per second at 37,290.32, which is one of the best damage per second unit out there. Especially, he is a multi-hit, which will do well against shield enemies. How to get Poseidon, Tyrant of the Seas is by defeating the new secret Tyrant of the Seas secret portal, which you can obtain through defeating the summer portal. Poseidon's damage types are physical and aqua. Okay, next unit is Kiro Bites the Dust. Another one bites the dust. Kiro is one of the newest units added in this update 16.5, and he became one of the best ground and support unit, as he will be able to rewind any kind of enemies at later upgrades. Bosses, air enemies, you name it, and he will be able to rewind it. Kiro Bites the Dust stats at max upgrade and max level are 375,605 damage with his SPA at 7.4 seconds, making his damage per second at 50,757.43, which is incredibly overpowered, since at later upgrades he will get an ability called Bites the Dust, where it will rewind enemies, and it doesn't have to be in Kiro's range for the ability to affect enemies, which is pretty overpowered if I do say so myself. And how to evolve Kiro to Kiro Bites the Dust is by defeating the new raid Bizarre Town countless of times, because you'll be needing 400 killer coins and star fruits for you to evolve one of the newest JoJo Bizarre units. And I do recommend to buy every single of the Hard Bomb raid relics, since it will help you once you have bought every single of the Hard Bomb raid relics. Kiro Bites the Dust damage types are Magic and Bros. That was everything for this video on the top 10 must-have units in update 16.5. I hope this video helped you in some sort of way. Remember to subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. I love you guys.